You can quit the job and still be in the cage. Now, that's exactly what a lot of people do. They leave corporate with the best intentions of freedom and everything going well, but they just rebuild the cage. Now, think of a captive tiger. That's all they've ever known. They've been pacing in this small environment, let out a little bit in reality, still very constrained inside of this big wall, this fortress. You put them in open land, they don't know what to do with themselves. You put them out in the wild, you try to rewild them, that doesn't go well. They stay in a small confined area because that's all they've ever known. It still feels like it's in the cage. Now, in this video, 3 things we're going to walk through. Number 1, why do people rebuild the cage when they leave the corporate job? Secondly, what are the 3 exit types people try and get it wrong? And then thirdly, how a founder actually builds something worth having beyond corporate life. If it's our first time meeting, I'm Matt Doan, founder of Corporate Graduation. We help directors, VPs, executives move from corporate to founder in 1 year or less. Now, if you want to get a deep dive view on where you are exactly right now, check out the Corporate Graduation Diagnostic. It's linked in the show notes below this. It's just going to take a few minutes of your time. You'll get a clear roadmap about what's ahead in making the move from corporate to founder and the gaps in front of you personally and what we recommend you do next. So grab that link in the show notes. Now, back to the cage idea. Let's pretend you are that tiger. When people make this move, they've spent 20 years in a certain cage. Now, that cage has looked maybe like a corporate building, cubicles, all that stuff. It's been big, it's been good to them. In reality, there's walls and constraints all around you. You're caged in, that's all you know. And a lot of people have the best intentions of exiting corporate life. They think freedom, I can do it on my own. I can spin up a consultancy, a advisory practice, coaching, fractional, something like that. And guess what? They just rebuild the same cage. More on that in a second. And in psychology, they call this the phantom cage, where it still exists in your mind. You act as though it exists, even though you look around, those conditions aren't there anymore. And yet you're trained for it. Now, there are 3 types of exits where things go horribly wrong, and it all rebuilds the cage for someone. Imagine you have all of the dreams of having something outside of corporate, of being a business owner, doing great work for people you care about, raking in great money, and it feels like you're in control of your days. The thing social media throws in your face and says it's super easy. It's not. But here's the reasons it's hard. Most people try one of these 3 moves. Number 1, probably the most dangerous, is corporate replication, where you say, well, I've been doing this same thing for 20, 25 years in finance and engineering and risk management, whatever it is. And you say, let me just repackage that and replicate it into my own business. Surely, because that's all I've done, that's all I'm known for, that's all I can do. Dangerous assumption. But they replicate it out there as a consultant, as a fractional executive. In reality, you're creating a job for yourself where you have less power, less benefits than what you had as a corporate employee. It's worse off in most cases. Even the fractional executive, guess what? You're not a full-time member of that organization. So think about the power dynamics. You're going to be struggling there. You're secondary in their minds. Understand that. Secondly, the cash grab. A lot of people will do this where they think, oh, I can just spin up some income. It might be like a vending machine play, drop shipping, day trading, and it stresses them out. The reality is it's not solving for the things underneath that need to be solved for. All they go for is the big old money sign and say, if I can solve for that, everything gets better. No, your challenges are so much deeper than just needing to solve for money. There's a reason you want this big life change. A full corporate graduation is so much more than just solving for income in a new way. Think about that. Think how you feel, how you experience the days, how the people in your life experience you. A bigger transformation is necessary, not just a money one. And then thirdly, people try the copy paste thing. Let me go into and invest in a franchise, a license play. Let me run someone else's playbook. Guess what? You're not owning anything there. You're certainly not a founder. You're just buying into someone else's system once again, and you follow their rules. Look at the patterns there. How much different is that on a day-to-day basis compared to what you're doing in a job right now? It's really quite similar. Is that what you want for yourself? Probably not. So let's break this down in a little bit more detail. Corporate replication. This is, again, the most common one. Fractional, advisory, consulting, coaching practice. This is where you say, let me just package up what I've done and do it out there in the world. Be very careful of this. A lot of people I work with, they come in thinking this is the only thing they can do. But generally speaking, only 20% of those I work with over the last few years actually carry this forward. There's a huge imagination problem in corporate America right now, which is you don't give yourself credit for all the hard stuff you've overcome in your life, professionally and personally. It's all what we call career capital. This is all substance to build something with. And we'll show you exactly what that looks like in a second. But you got to understand, you have to have an imagination in moving beyond corporate life. You can't just package it up, because in reality, what you're going to create for yourself, if you're not careful, is you're going to replicate it. You're just going to create another job in disguise. It's fake freedom. It will not feel free. I guarantee you, I tried that. Seen others try it countless. They end up in corporate life again at best. Second one is the cash grab. I won't even spend a lot of time on this. This is pretty low level. Most people that I work with are much smarter than to think they can just get a cash grab and be better for it. Spinning up a certain agency, drop shipping. This is very income focused, and we really don't spend a lot of time here. Day trading. This is its own job you're creating for yourself. Again, it's a pure money play. The odds don't stack in your favor. I will say generally, this is a commodity play. Outside of you being the 0.001% of like a day trader, this is all commodity stuff. You're going to have to invest ahead of time. You're going to have to endure the drudgery of whatever's involved there. There's no building anything. You're just playing it for money. And then thirdly, there's the copy-paste model. Buy a franchise, license the system, run someone else's playbook. Again, there's no agency here at all. This is you just plugging into someone else's system, effectively creating another job for yourself. You're operating within someone else's walls, and you don't address what's truly underneath, the need at play. That's what needs to happen. So that's the core thing. There is no imagination taking place. The wrong exits, what do? They chase money, they run someone else's playbook, stuff that drains you, that doesn't energize you, and it rebuilds the cage because you're just replicating what you've done before. Now, the flip side of what you want to look for is something where you're building from a point of view, something from your lived experience, something where you're creating net new value out there in this world. It should energize you because you're drained right now. You need to create energy. You need to create the conditions where you feel alive and energized and building something real. And you want to go into open territory. You want to make sure that you're creating a more expansive future for yourself. You're doing work that can build for years and compound, and you're not jumping into something narrow, competitive, or commoditized. That's what jobs are for, is going into commodity land and say, pick me. We want to go into a brand new sandbox and build something where we can be one of one, where we can flourish and flex what we're gifted at. So when you think about this, I advise folks, you want to look for two signals. Number one is you want to look for inner signal. Secondly, you want to match that with outer signal. The inner signal leverages your point of view. You look at what lights you up. This is very important. If you don't do work that gets you jumping out of bed on a Monday morning at 5 a.m. for good reasons, that's a problem. We need to solve for that, because right now, I'm going to guess your corporate cage feeling, it's just feeling like drudgery. You dread Monday mornings. You want to love Monday mornings. I know I do. I didn't used to. Now I can't wait to start Mondays. Mondays are my favorite day of the week. I say that in full honesty with you. In the outer signal, we need to look at real problems, unmet needs in this world for people that you want to work with and people that would feel attracted to you and what you believe in. At the core of that is what we call the match. That's a business waiting to happen, where an inner signal connects with an outer signal. What lights you up on the inside, what the outside world needs, we connect the two, and that's a business worth forming. That's the first business that you will create. You will run it as an experiment, and you will build skill knowing that you might pivot. You might create a second business, a third business, because once a founder, always a founder. This is the mode. You want to get to that intersection, okay? Because that's where you can deploy your gold, create it into IP, and it becomes a product. Do you see where we're going here? We want the intersection of something that lights you up and connects with the outside need in the world. Now, I'll leave you with a couple thoughts. The philosopher Alan Watts said, "You are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago." So despite your LinkedIn profile saying one thing, doesn't mean you need to keep being that person. Sure, there might be elements to pull forward. Sure, That's what career capital's for. Reputation, logos, accomplishments. But the idea here is that you want to market your future, not your past. And that's totally up to you to decide. But you've got to put yourself in the conditions, a container of sorts, to have your imagination spark back to life. Get creative. Imagine what's possible. Test it, validate it, bring it to life. That's what a founder does. They build something that doesn't exist. So that's the whole flow, right? In corporate graduation, if you're going to get to this state where you build a business, we call that system, where you build the actual founder business, not the corporate replication stuff, not the copy paste stuff. We have to create the space in our life. We have to rebuild self. Then we have the conditions to build the system, which is the business. Okay. So notice this isn't an overnight fix. Getting it right beats getting it done fast. You're not going to have a 12 weeks and then done thing. Don't believe someone's boot camp that you're going to be done in 30 to 60 days. There's some serious rewiring of you, new conditions that need to exist in your life, a real founder that needs to be built. And then you have to go through the mechanics of a founder business. Bringing that to life takes a lot of work. We're not just going to replicate our corporate past and create a phantom cage for ourselves. We don't want that. We want to flourish out there in the world. We want to get out into the wild and be what we're capable of. No phantom cages. It's not done in just a couple of months. We need to make sure we do the thorough work. So to stamp it home, you want to exit the cage and not replicate it. You want to deploy your gold. No more cages. This is for you to create. You have to have the conditions be true. Now, if this hit home for you, you understand that we can't just build more of what we've had in the past. There's a reinvention that needs to take place. Now I've got to ask, how much longer are you going to wait to get in motion? We're going to tackle that piece next, because the most expensive statement you can keep putting in front of yourself is 1 more year. The cost of delay is incredible. The loss of the upside, the opportunity that's not captured. So click the link here or look at the description in this video and go deeper on that. I'll see you over there.